welcome back. Today I'm going to touch on a subject which I feel is really important, and that is the subject of financial responsibility. I see and I work with a lot of people who actually are taking the time to actually notice what's going on with their finances, particularly driven, I would say, from the more recent times that we've had, because let's face it, we're having to be more careful. We're having to keep a closer eye on what's going on in our financial worlds. And so it's extremely important to have the ability to be financially responsible. So let's talk a little bit about what this actually means. So the first thing, of course, is an awareness about how much is coming in to your pot and how much is flowing out of your pot each month. Do you keep a close eye on your bank accounts, your bank statements, whether digitally or paper or online, whatever? Do you keep a close eye of the money that's coming in and going out? Do you check whether there are unusual payments going off or subscriptions that you don't need or don't want anymore, don't use anymore? You know, you've got to be savvy these days not to be wasting your hard-earned, and making sure that, you know, the money that you do have is going to the right places and that you're working with any excess that you have in a really great way. So also another factor which is extremely important is your credit score. If you haven't checked it recently, highly recommend that you go and check out what your credit score is, because your credit score gives you the ability to borrow money. If you can show that you are responsible with your money and that you can handle debt, we've just had a conversation about debt a couple of episodes ago. If you can handle debt well, then you're going to be given more opportunities to work with debt in a responsible manner and let debt work for you. So if you're not working on your credit score, you need to make sure that you are starting to do so. So go and check it out. Go and check what your current credit score is. There are plenty of places that you can do that. Just type in, how do I check my credit score? And there are lots of different ways that you can do that. And it's just one to learn and understand how to build up your credit score. I'm not going to do a whole episode on that. I might just do one, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. So watch out for that next. It's just super important in terms of your ability to prove that you can handle money well. And it opens up a lot of doors for you. Okay, so credit score is a big one. Are you aware of how much your money's actually making if you have it sat in a bank account or in a pension or in an ISA or any other type of financial vehicle? Are you keeping an eye on what it's actually doing for you? And are you able to manage your money well? Do you know, or do you have, let's say, different savings accounts or pots that you are operating from that you can allocate towards different things, perhaps? Are you saving? Are you investing? Do you know how to invest? Do you know what type of different vehicles there are out there? You know, all these types of things enable you to become more savvy and to become more financially responsible, which is, as I say, super important, particularly in this day and age. Now, the question is, how can our governments and financial institutions expect people to be responsible with their money when, let's face it, quite frankly, they are not? We don't teach it at school. You know, it's not taught in our educational system as a general rule, certainly not in the public realm in any case. So most people have no idea how the monetary system or the economy works, let alone their own bank accounts and how to manage that. You know, young people are thrown a credit card at the age of 18 and student loans to help them go through university at a very young age as well, all of which set them up for what I call this loop of debt. It just gets them into this debt cycle before their lives have even begun. The question is, how can our leaders, both in government and financial institutions, expect people to be financially responsible when, quite frankly, they just don't get taught at school as they're growing up. And certainly that's in the case in the public arena anyway, maybe not certain private schools, but certainly the public realm, we're just not taught about these things. And most people have no idea about how the economy or the monetary system works, let alone our youth. So young people are typically thrown a credit card at the age of 18 and also help to go through university in the form of student loans, right? Just handed out willy-nilly, all of which set them up in what I call this loop of debt, because they start off in life borrowing money. Some of them even think it's free money and that they can go and spend it on whatever they want without realizing that they actually need to pay it back. And it's only, they don't understand that it's credit and what that actually means and what interest rates do and all this sort of thing and how it can work against them. And so they can get themselves into a world of trouble, as well as a lot of adults are in that space as well. And when you think about it, the term fiscally responsible, and I'll quote, means acting in a manner that is careful and prudent with public finances, ensuring sustainable and responsible use of taxpayer money. It implies a commitment to sound financial management, balancing spending with revenue, and avoiding excessive debt. This is the example that our government is supposed to be setting for us. Well, I'm sorry, but do we know a government that does that? I think it's in the tune of, around 160 billion that the UK government has borrowed over the last year, a quarter of which just going to pay back interest payments. I mean, it's insanity. So if we're expected to follow the example of our leaders and governments, then no wonder the world is in such a mess, quite frankly. They're all in massive debt without, it seems, any desire or ability to pay it back, or concern about the effect this is having on currencies and the fact that it's debasing our currencies and it's making things even more unaffordable, and things are just going so out of control. It's just crazy. Where does it stop? Now, I'm no absolute expert, okay? I'm just an ordinary person who's worked their way through the world, taken responsibility. I've always been self-employed, and then we set up our property business and then a mentoring business. I've just been, gathering this information as I've gone along. But I have to say that we have learned to play the game from next to nothing and to build ourselves generational wealth, to be able to facilitate the lifestyle that we live now and to be able to pass that on to our, the younger generation, so that not only will we benefit from what we've done, but our family will continue to do so as long as we're careful and as long as they're careful for years and generations to come. So we're doing something right. So let's look at this. There's an old paradigm that we need to shift away from, okay, in terms of being financially responsible. So the old paradigm was you have to study hard, get a good set of results, get a good education. I'm sure that a lot of people will resonate with that. Then you have to work hard. Okay, you have to work hard for your money, which most people experience in the early days of their careers, and certainly many people experience it all the way through their lives, having to work hard for money. Then you're supposed to save hard, invest or put your money into a pension, okay, or join up to a pension scheme at work, and then ideally buy a house if you possibly can, if you have enough wherewithal to be able to save for a deposit and then actually buy a house for yourself, and then continue along this path for at least 40 years, bringing up your family and going to work and doing the thing until you might have enough to have some sort of retirement and actually some sort of enjoyment from your life. Although, to be quite honest, with the retirement ages kind of eking up and up and up incrementally in quite a rapid pace, we're not necessarily likely to have the health all the time to enjoy it much. So that old paradigm, quite frankly, is rubbish. right? So let's look at a new paradigm, a new way of taking responsibility and working with your money. So what I would suggest is, yes, learn your craft, learn what you're good at, learn if you need to go to university, if you need to go to college, if you need to do an apprenticeship, do something to learn how to maximize your skills and abilities. And yes, you have to start working hard to earn some cash, right? Earn some readies. And ideally, along the way, you're going to need to find your passion, find something that you really love to do, and be able to have the ability to monetize this. But that might not happen straight away. It might be that you're in your 20s or early 30s and you've been working hard, but actually you're not enjoying it. And you think to yourself, actually, I'd love to have a little online business, or I want to just start a whole new thing. I want to go and start doing adventure cycling up in the mountains of Wales, and I want to start a business doing that, or I don't know, something crazy like that. Yeah. So find your passion, and ideally see if you can monetize that. Obviously, one of my biggest ones is about learning to manage your money well, how to save it, how to manage it, how to multiply that money that you have. So learning to manage it well means that you invest a regular amount of that money, and that you use leverage, which I've spoken about before, ideally the ability to borrow against that money and be able to make it multiply even more, like we've done with our properties. We've taken out mortgages along with putting money of our own in, and then it's grown over the years. That's one example of leverage. And compounding, again, I've spoken about compounding. Look back through the episodes and have a look and see the episode that I've done on compounding, and let that money and that time do the heavy lifting for you. Create passive income, passive cash flow. Learn how to do this so that you can retire early or young enough to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labours. And of course, love your life as you go along. Live it, love it, and be able to enjoy the process, if you like, of creating money, making it grow, and allowing it to work hard for you. This is the new paradigm, getting money to work hard for you. And like I say, here in the Freedom Club, this is what we love to do, help people to learn and understand how to do exactly that. So here's to the new paradigm of creating money and building wealth for yourself. And I hope that's given you some inspiration about how to think differently, how to start to take responsibility. And I'm sure you already are. If you're listening to these episodes, I'm sure you're already getting the idea of what you could do with your money and how you can make it work harder for you. So I'm right behind you 100% every step of the way. So make sure to tune in next time to learn more top tips. Bye for now.